The central nervous system is composed of two main parts, the brain and the spinal cord. There is also the peripheral nervous system that contains all of the nerves of the body, and the autonomic nervous system is a subdivision of this peripheral nervous system. Neurons consist of three parts. The main part is the cell body where the nucleus is contained. The dendrites are branching projections that conduct impulses to the cell body of the neuron. Axons, on the other hand, are elongated projections that conduct impulses away from the cell body of the neuron. Neurons are classified according to function or the direction of impulse. Sensory neurons conduct impulses to the spinal cord and brain. They are also called afferent neurons. Motor neurons conduct impulses away from the brain and spinal cord to muscles and glands, and these are also called the efferent neurons. Interneurons conduct impulses from sensory neurons to motor neurons, and they are also called the central or connecting neurons. So the sensory neurons start with A-F-F-E-R-E-N-T, neurons, and the motor neurons start with E-F-F-E-R-E-N-T, neurons. Neuriglia are support cells. They bring the cells of the nervous tissue together structurally and functionally. There are three main types of connective tissue cells of the central nervous system. Astrocytes are star-shaped cells that anchor small blood vessels to neurons. Microglia are small cells that move in inflamed brain tissue, carrying on phagocytosis. And oligodendrites form myelin sheaths on axons in the central nervous system. Multiple sclerosis is an example of a disorder of the nervous tissue. Multiple sclerosis is characterized by myelin loss in central nerve fibers and resulting conduction impairments. Tumors can develop. The general name for nervous system tumors is neuroma. Most neuromas are gliomas, glial tumors. Multiple neurofibromatosis is characterized by numerous benign tumors. The nerve itself is made of a bundle of peripheral axons. The bundle of central axons is called the tract, and the white matter is the brain or cord tissue, composed primarily of myelinated axons, and gray matter is brain or cord tissue composed primarily of cell bodies and unmyelinated fibers. The nerve is covered by a fibrous connective tissue. The endoneurium surrounds individual fibers within a nerve. The perineurium surrounds a group, a fascicle of nerve fibers, and the epineurium surrounds the entire nerve. Nerve impulses are conducted from receptors to effectors over neuron pathways or reflex arcs. Conduction by a reflex arc results in a reflex. The simplest reflex arcs are two neuron arcs. Two neuron arcs consist of sensory neurons synapsing in the spinal cord with motor neurons. Three neuron arcs consist of sensory neurons synapsing in the spinal cord with interneurons that synapse with motor neurons. Now let's take a look at the nerve impulse itself. The definition for a nerve impulse is a self-propagating wave of electrical disturbance that travels along the surface of a neuron membrane. This is sometimes called action potential. How does this work? Here's the mechanism. The inward movement of sodium ions depolarizes the membrane by masking the inside more positive than the outside at the stimulated point. This depolarization is a nerve impulse, action potential. The stimulated section of membrane immediately repolarizes, but by that time the depolarization has already triggered the next section of membrane to depolarize, thus propagating a wave of electrical disturbances, depolarizations, all the way down the membrane. The synapse is the place where impulses are transmitted from one neuron to another. Synapses are made of three structures: the synaptic knob, the synaptic cleft, and the plasma membrane. Neurotransmitters bind to specific receptor molecules in the membrane of the postsynaptic neuron, opening ion channels and thereby stimulating impulse connections by the membrane.